Alright, let's have a simple exercise here. We have a form with three elements: a label, a text box, and a submit button, contained in a rectangular container that is centered on the screen. So here we apply the concept of padding and margin, and we will apply some width in it. The padding is the space, this one, the space surrounding the box, and the padding when applied in an input type text like this one, that is the space that surrounds the word CCSE. And similarly, when it is applied in a button, it is the space that surrounds the label of the button, right? Whereas the margin, it's the space, no, between the text box and the submit button. Okay, so let's see. First, let's start with the label, and then followed by the box, input type text, and then one button, right? And let's see the output. So now you see three elements in here. So we have the label, a text box, and a submit button. Let me increase the size. Let me zoom a little so that you can see it on the screen. So there you go. Next, I'm gonna put some color and border for the button and the text box so that it's visible to us. Let me start with the input type text. Let's add a class, border. I'm gonna choose 2. And for the button, put some class in it, and add a color. Maybe it's blue, indigo, a little bit of blue. And let's see how it looks. Yes, there you go. Next. So, second, we're going to put all these elements in a container. So, let's put that inside a div. And then let's make that container flexible. It's a flex. And at the same time, the direction is flex column. So let's see what happens. Alright, so let me just show you the entire screen. So I have now 3 elements that are stuck up together in a column. So next, we're gonna make the size of that container to about 1/6 of the screen, maybe. See. So to do that, I would say the width is equals to 1/6 of the screen. And let's check. There. So, okay. So, we have set the width to 1/6. Next, we're gonna put this entire rectangular container in the center of the screen, horizontally and vertically. So we will make another container that will hold this container. So there will be an outer container. So let's put that again inside the div. And let's make it a flexible container, and everything that's inside it will be centered, justify centered. And let's see what will happen. Okay, so let me just move my screen so you can see that it is centered on my screen right now. And then to center it horizontally, let's add items center here. Let's check the output. So it's not actually centered because when you look at it, the element is actually centered, but only on that available viewport. So it's not the entire screen. It's not the entire height of the screen. So what we do next is let's tell the browser that we are using the entire screen. So we do that by typing h screen on the outer container. Right, and refresh the screen, and now we have a centered form. But for now, let me just remove that horizontal centering for the meantime so that it is visible on our screen. Okay, now I'm gonna make the color for the outer and the inner container different, so we could see the background for the outer will be a little bit darker, and the background for our inner container is just an off-white, maybe gray, 50. Okay, so our form is now emerging. The shape is about to form. So the next step is we will put a padding surrounding the entire three elements here. So for that inner container, let's put a padding P about 4. Okay. So looking at it on its regular view without zooming, so it looks like that. And when we zoom it, there. So for now, let me just zoom that so that we could see it. Let me start designing the button. Let's make it a little bit presentable. So let's put a padding also. Padding of 2, and make the color white. Okay. Oh, great. And to complete that, let's make that rounded as well. So the curve is a medium. Okay. So we're good with our button. Next is when you type something in the text box, you see the text is not well centered on the screen. I mean, inside the input type text. So let's put here a padding as well. Okay. There. So when you use the actual height, it should look like that. And then, yeah, let's also put a padding for the label. Padding -2. Okay, so there we have a padding now. Let me zoom it. Well, there is also a padding on the left side of the text because we said we put a padding all over it. So we wanted to put a padding only on top and at the bottom of it, not on the left and the right side. So we will say, instead of P, we'll say PY, referring to the y-axis. Oh, right, so better. And then finally, we need to have a space in between the text box and the submit button. So you could put a margin either below the text box or on top of the submit button. So we will do that with the text box. So let's put a margin here, margin below, and let's make that a 4. And let's see what happens. Great. So, and then finally, let's put this container in the center. So let's put that justify center back. And then refresh. And then let's see the entire screen. Okay, the form looks good. However, the space surrounding the elements is a bit narrow. So let's put more in it. Let's add this. Let's make the padding to 6. Save and refresh. All right, so that's it for our simple form. I'll see you again in our next videos.